2,000, maybe as many as 3,000 farms that look just like this. There are tens of thousands of farm workers that work at these farms every single day, and many, if not most of them, are undocumented immigrants. This is around the time that you would see a lot of workers out here. And today, it has been a virtual ghost town of workers.
That's our Jacob Soboroff reporting from farm fields in California's Ventura County last night, noting that many fields were empty amid fears of ICE raids targeting farm workers who tend them. New video showing several of those pursuits, agents chasing, even tackling one worker through the rows of crops as federal vehicles circled this field. In the sky above, NBC News spotting Customs and Border Protection helicopters flying over these farms. Many of these undocumented workers are working there. And now United Farm Workers, the labor union founded by Cesar Chavez in the 1960s to advocate for farm workers, is sounding the alarm. Joining us now from one of those fields in Ventura County is Roman Pinal. He is the National Vice President of United Farm Workers. Roman, it's great to have you with us to shine some light on this part of the story. Let's start with those videos we've now all seen online that we just showed our audience. What do you know about the ICE raids targeting field workers this week?
Well, what I know is that these raids need to stop. They need to stop. These kinds of tactics are no way to treat valuable members of our community. No one should have to work in fear. And ironically, I'm here with a full crew of workers who are harvesting radishes. These radishes are going to end up at our grocery store shelves this weekend for all the Father's Day barbecues that are going to be happening around this country. And that contribution, that just having a beautiful celebration this weekend is not possible without the men and women, farm workers, who are doing this amazing work for us here in Ventura County today.
They said for the first time in at least half of a century, more people may leave the U.S. than arrive this year. Illegals, basically. So you know how Obama was having people deported, but then people were coming in. So this is going to be the first time in history that more people will actually stay out of the country and not come back in. Or they're deporting while people are staying out.
What was Trump's number one issue he was running off of?
The border and the economy.
Enough said.
It's interesting, though. They cited Cesar Chavez. Didn't he not like illegal immigrants himself? Pretty sure we read that. That's where his slogan, Si Si Puede, comes from.
I was wondering, was that him? Yes, it says the U.S. could lose more immigrants than it gains for the first time in 50 years, guys.
We've seen the numbers of Obama deported a lot. All the presidents deported a lot, but they're still letting them in. He is not letting them in at all.
Here it is. It says Cesar Chavez his focus was on protecting the rights of legal farm workers, many of whom were Mexican-American or legal Mexican immigrants. He expressed concerns that unchecked illegal immigration weakened the legal's bargaining power.
Wow.
The union's bargaining power, which is the Union of Farm Workers, which they cited.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna lie, though, it does make me feel bad seeing them like run from them in the fields and all that. But it's like,
we knew.
We did. We know.
Donald Trump put his surrender in writing at 9:43 a.m. today, saying our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good longtime workers away from them, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Changes are coming, exclamation point. So Donald Trump promised to deport every one of those people working on farms, every one of them. He promised to deport all of them. And then he decided not to deport them today.
I don't think he did that.
Donald Trump promised to deport 15 million people. That would include everyone who is working in those fields, harvesting the food, making beds in hotels, everyone. And now that Donald Trump has finally decided to listen to the owners of those industries, he's not going to deport 15 million people. He's not going to deport 1 million people. It's over. The mass deportation lie that he never could have done anyway is over. And Donald Trump formally, publicly gave up today.
By now, we know you can't take Donald Trump at his word. So we were suspicious, to say the least, when he signaled yesterday that he would alter his hardline immigration policies to prevent some deportations at American farms and hotels after hearing complaints from business leaders. And according to new reporting in the Washington Post, it is very clear that Trump has no intention of changing, quote, no such policy changes are underway, according to 3 people with knowledge. Do we have the sound of where he said it, honey? Because I thought it was just so insane. Let's play it.
We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have. We can't do that to our farmers, and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
So no common sense. We can do that to our farmers and those in the leisure industry because we just got a quote from 3 people with knowledge saying no such policy changes are underway. So which is it, Mr. President? What you doing? Who's running your government, by the way?
These are the same people who were basically saying he shouldn't deport people because it will harm these industries. And now that it actually has been harming the industries, and he softens his position and says, hey, we're going to find a way to get the people that are contributing to our economy and these industries safety in this country. Now they're throwing it back in his face. Like, if you ask liberals, their whole thing is, oh, who's going to do the work you don't want to do? Who's going to get underpaid? Who's going to do the slave labor for slave wages? But now that he's advocating for them as valuable members of our society, as irreplaceable members in these industries, now they're throwing it back in his face. Interesting hill to position to take here.
He's siding with the American people, so they came to him with a problem. Then he says, hey, okay, I can solve this problem. And now you guys are still upset.
He also doubled down and still vows to deport people.
Which this problem also was a problem that y'all were saying was a problem. And now he's siding with that problem. And now that's a problem.
This is a great example. This is a great example of no matter what Donald Trump does, the media is going to say he's wrong because he's now softening up the deportation of these people that, you know, are not criminals. And y'all are saying, oh, well, he said he was going to deport everybody. See, he's a liar. But then if he does deport them, they protest in the streets and call it inhumane.
Yeah.
So no matter what Donald Trump did, this was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, this also is a perfect...
And I'm happy about this. I'm with this.
Yeah, it's a perfect example that he's actually for the American people. Yeah, this hurts you guys, the farm workers. This hurts all type of different stuff. And it might hurt grocery stores. It might hurt a lot of different things. So, hey, let's figure something out. If you're working, hey, they've been working you for 5-10 years. And now it's basically saying, okay, if you have a job and you contributed to the economy, you probably can stay. So what's the problem now?
Well, that's not what he said. He didn't say if you have a job, you probably can stay.
He said that these people have been working in these jobs for years and their positions are irreplaceable. So basically calling them valuable members to these industries.
Yes.
Saying their contribution is irreplaceable, and he's advocating for their safety in America.
Not everybody can stay, but some of them can.
Yeah. I believe that would be a select percentage of the illegal population.
That's a different take. Remember, because he was saying like, I'm going to deport every single one. So he softened up his policy more to what the people on the left should want. But now it's as if y'all are showing your cards that y'all don't really want that.
Oh, so he really can't do it, so he's a liar, huh?
So it's just like you don't care about them. You're using them as a political pawn to make Donald Trump look bad so that you get votes.
Welcome back. In a ramp-up of his immigration crackdown, President Trump has ordered federal officials to expand efforts to detain and deport undocumented migrants in Democratic-run cities. In a social media post yesterday, Trump called on ICE agents to, quote, do all in their power to achieve the very important goal of delivering the single largest mass deportation program in history. The directive builds on a White House order from April that calls on officials to document sanctuary cities that are not complying with its agenda, threatening those that fail to do so may lose federal funding. It also comes amid continued protests in Los Angeles and other major cities against the administration's immigration policies. Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Joe Morelli of New York. He's the ranking member of the Committee on House Administration. And I want to get to your work on that committee because it's especially important in light of what we've seen in Minnesota. But first, let's start on immigration. Your reaction to President Trump ordering federal officials to expand efforts against undocumented migrants in so-called Democratic-run cities. The fact that he's
he's targeting folks there as opposed to anywhere else in the country. What's the message that sends?
Well, look, we should remember that tens of thousands of these folks are here in the United States legally. They are documented, even though the president uses the word undocumented or worse, illegal. They were here legally. And the president has changed the rules after people got here for tens of thousands of Venezuelans, for other people who were here legally. And secondly, a number of people were here and documented, and the United States was considering asylum for them. So he has changed the rules. It'd be like it when my great-grandparents came here legally, and then a few years later were told, you're no longer welcome, and we started deporting people. It's so bad that even the Trump administration cabinet members had to persuade the president not to continue some of these deportations. And frankly, remember how they were first described, people who are here awaiting consideration of their asylum pleas. They were described as being lazy and that we were all paying for them to be here. Turns out they're now going to workplaces where they're gainfully employed. So look, there's a lot going on here. I don't by any means think that protests should turn violent in any way, but this is completely un-American and contrary to everything that we have told these individuals when they came to the United States.
It seems like what they forget is the citizens decide a lot of things that happens.
By voting.
Policy, yes. So we've seen the numbers over time. They're changing.
So they voted to become sanctuary cities, right?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
I would say so. I mean, I don't know that for a fact. Let's grok it, bro. We don't know. Let's grok real quick. They don't vote for that.
No, it says no, people don't typically vote directly for the cities to become sanctuary cities.
So they don't directly vote for that, but they do know who the people, you voted Democrat, you voted in sanctuary cities.
So
That's
what
correct.
makes you a sanctuary
It says the designation usually comes from city council resolutions, mayoral policies, local ordinances are often driven by elected officials or advocacy groups rather than a public referendum.
Okay.
So I'm glad we cleared that up. But y'all voted for people who are in favor of these policies, and then you see how they affect you, and then now they got to go to those cities to get them out. And it looks like he's just attacking Democrat cities. That's really where they are.
Truly.
Well, organizers say 5 million people at 2,000 events came out to protest President Trump and his administration's policies on Saturday. You probably saw these yourself wherever you live this weekend. The No Kings protests follow more than a week of unrest in Los Angeles over immigration raids. News Station's Xavier Walton is in L.A. for us this morning. And Xavier, federal troops and police don't expect these demonstrations to stop anytime soon.
No, they don't, Marky. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone at home. You know what? Tension still remains high for the most part here in downtown LA as those sweeping ICE raids, they do continue. But it is early. I can't lie. At the moment, things are very, very calm. You can still see law enforcement outside of that federal detention center just behind me. But when you look at this video from over the weekend, officials still expect more protests to continue. But obviously, when you see this video, it's going to be on a much smaller scale. In part, the weather could play a factor. It's going to be a lot hotter, right? A little bit warmer here in Southern California. So they believe that might keep protesters off the streets, so to speak.
What about work?
But still, when you talk to law enforcement, they believe they are ready, staying ready in the event that some of these protests, some of these demonstrations could potentially turn violent. They did for a short time this weekend. Agitators were seen throwing rocks, concrete at police, even shooting commercial-grade fireworks at them as well. Here's how the community is feeling right now.
We want ICE out of LA, we want the military out of LA, and we want LAPD to stop collaborating with ICE. We got too many people here that contribute to the community.
All right, but outside of the DHS office near Seattle, officers in riot gear used tear gas, flashbangs, pepper balls. No arrests there or injuries reported either. Then you go to Portland. Police declared a riot at a protest outside of an ICE facility there. At least 3 people were arrested at this site over the weekend. Then in Salt Lake City, a 39-year-old man was shot and killed during a No Kings protest. A 24-year-old charged with his murder, though he did not shoot the man. A peacekeeping team says they saw him take out a rifle and they opened fire on him, hitting him, and that innocent bystander who later died after he was transported to the hospital. But this is a sharp contrast to the hundreds of other No Kings protests that were peaceful for the most part over the weekend. Meantime, President Trump posting on Truth Social late last night, encouraging ICE officers and thanking them for delivering the single largest mass deportation program in history, saying in part, quote, "We must expand efforts to detain and deport illegal aliens in America's largest cities such as LA, Chicago, and New York." Meantime, looking ahead, tomorrow there's a federal hearing to determine if the president or California's Governor Gavin Newsom will control the California National Guard, which was and has been, remember, Mark, mobilized by the White House, something California Governor Gavin Newsom certainly does object. So we'll be watching and waiting and seeing what happens with that tomorrow in court.
They're talking about we want the military out. Why are you guys destroying stuff and throwing bricks at police officers? Like, this is not how you get people to rally behind your cause. This is not how you get your cause to be taken seriously. Unfortunately, it actually does quite the opposite. So burning my American flag, waving Mexican flags to show that you belong in America.
This is quite literally an insurrection, bro.
Yeah, I can't get behind that, brother. Do I believe that all illegals are bad? No. Some of them are definitely good people, but doesn't change the fact that the law is the law.
People voted, and you guys are going against what people voted for.
You know,
with violence.
The thing is, they're trying to play this moral game, like, oh, our morality, this and that. This is why laws exist, because everyone's morals are different, but we have laws, which are the rules that everyone has to follow, regardless of your morals, your ethnicity, your background. And now that you guys don't agree, you're all upset and causing all these problems.
Did you not accept the results of the election?
That's what I was.
Did you not do that?
They sound exactly like J6. It's the same thing.
You know,
they're not accepting the results of the election. This is what they voted for.
It's not the same thing. J6 was one day. This has been a week long.
Yeah. And they say it's peaceful, but y'all are dropping cement and bricks on police. And the Marines and all that there is to keep people safe. They're not there to attack y'all.
The police
How
was
many people have
overwhelmed.
they shot and killed?
The police was overwhelmed. They needed help.
And we're not going to forget, Trump also tried to send the National Guard there.
They are there.
No, I'm talking about
the Marines.
J6.
Oh, yeah. Nancy
And Miss
Pelosi
Pelosi.
showed that.
Miss
Nancy Pelosi, did you
Pelosi.
see what she said? She was like, oh, we tried to send them there. Liar. The video of her saying, I wish, where's them? Oh, I messed up.
I wish I would have did it. This would have been a wish also for Gavin. If it would have got totally out of control, people probably could have lost their life if the authority didn't come to this event.
Yeah, this would be a wish for him.
Who knows what would happen?
Congressman, I want to get your take on the other areas of President Trump's agenda. Nearly 1 million illegal immigrants have already self-deported under President Trump's agenda, and it's affecting wages. The Washington Post is reporting 1 million foreign-born workers have exited the workforce since March, framing this as a sign of the weakening labor supply. But the fact is average hourly wages have gone up 0.4% over the last month. So it's really American citizens who've been gaining from this. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, we need workers, right? But that's never been a good excuse for illegal immigration. It's a good excuse for improving our visa system and getting more visas into places like agriculture and construction. And I know the president made some comments on this recently that, hey, he's been listening. We hear you. We do need more visas on this regard. But that's never been an excuse for keeping illegals here. This should not be two difficult ideas to hold in your head at the same time.
Yeah.
And you look at the numbers of deportations. I was looking at them recently, and you look at President Bush's numbers. In the millions. President Obama was, of course, nobody's broken his record. Biden was at a low, but even in the first Trump administration, I think it was around 1 million. From what I understand. So, I mean, look, President Trump's got to play catch up, if anything.
Yeah, that's such a
really
great
does.
point.
That's what
And when you hear all of these other former presidents speak, they sound exactly the way President Trump is speaking. I mean, they all admitted the issue and wanted to fix it. But, Congressman, I want to thank you for being such a patriot, and I want to thank you for your service to our great nation.
I mean, that's just the best
argument
that you can bring up.
It is.
It's interesting, though. They said they're deporting people, and now the wages are going up. So if all of these workers were deported and the wages to do these jobs went up, do you think Americans would fill them and do them?
I don't know, man, because some of those, I don't know.
I hope so.
Like the farm ones?
Yeah. That's why Trump's gonna have to keep some of them. That's why he's saying I'm gonna have to.
But like
back down on that.
But like let's say
Americans are lazy.
Let's say
they're gonna live off the
not
state.
all of them, but
not all of them. Let's say
just keeping it real.
Let's say all the illegals were deported, and now these jobs you could get like a livable wage to do these jobs. Do you think people would do it?
No, I think a lot of people would choose to live off the state because a lot of people.
Bro, I don't think that many people live off the state. Not that many people live off the state.
The people who are already living off the state are going to continue to live off the state.
But yeah,
even if good paying jobs that are hard open up.
Well, I'm not referring to them. I'm just saying, do you think Americans would move to do the jobs if they could work able to get paid a livable wage doing them? Because now they don't do it because you don't get paid shit to do it. But
No.
like, if all they
no.
Because I feel like the administration they've been talking about this, and they said, well, if the people that said that these jobs aren't fillable, then no. They said it will never be filled if an illegal immigrant doesn't do this job.
I'm telling you, because it's jobs that are looked down upon by Americans.
Yeah,
so
that's
if we
true.
look at, I don't want to have to go down this road, but
that's
we're going to
true.
be honest here.
That's true.
Okay, a certain demographic suffers more financially than others. Okay, so do you see people of that demographic going out there and doing the jobs that the illegals are doing? No.
Hell no.
Hell no.
They in the fields.
They're not going back to the fields.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it 100. They gonna live off the Uncle Sam before they do that.
Yeah.
My boy, the GOAT, Greg Foreman, he got a banger off to me. He said the people that are homeless in LA should be replacing the illegals working in the field.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Like, so if you could pay homeless people a livable wage to work in the fields, do you think they'll do it?
No.
I wouldn't say no.
I don't think they will, man.
You think that they would get up and go do it?
If they could make enough money to live, yes.
Do you think that homeless people's problem is they're unable to create wealth, or usually they're on drugs?
On drugs.
So do you think that's gonna stop them?
It'll give them money to buy drugs.
I don't think that. I just don't think that it will. They could go to McDonald's, couldn't they? Right now.
This was the book, right?
Why not?
Why would you hire someone that's dirty and homeless to work around food?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
But you got someone that's dirty and homeless in the field. Dirty ass gonna wake up and get back in that field.
Yeah, but what farmer would want to hire them when they can hire an illegal who gonna work hard for real and not be on drugs?
And that's why Donald Trump having to back off deporting everybody, especially these workers.
How much percent of the homeless population is on drugs?
I would say 99.
I would like to see if there's
to 95.
Can I see if there's a statistic for that? Some individuals use both. So 38% homeless population struggles with alcohol, 26 abuse drug, and there's an overlap. So roughly 45 to 50% of homeless people have issues with drugs or alcohol.
I think it's higher than that.
Yeah, that's a hard stat to really know.
Yeah.
But this right here, guys, this is insane.
A study from the Media Research Center shows that from June 11th to the 12th, CNN and MSNBC personalities insisted the anti-ICE demonstrations were peaceful 211 times.
Say it one more time.
211 times they were peaceful. A study from
That's crazy.
So they was lying.
They went and added it up.
Is anyone surprised that the mainstream media is lying to us?
But now he's pivoting to just make it a war against democratic cities. And he's not even talking about immigration so much anymore. He just wants those scenes of violent confrontation between a federalized National Guard or the Marines and people who live in cities that have Democratic mayors or states that have Democratic governors. I mean, that's much more of an agenda to create a political civil war in America. And that's exactly what the vast majority of American people don't want. But now
So Trump wants the riots, you're saying.
Pretty ludicrous claims there.
Look, I've been seeing a lot of videos of places of work that a lot of illegal immigrants work that are empty now because they swept them. Like
Construction jobs and stuff.
is heavy of a lot of people that have been swept out.
Yeah, I bet that's hurting a lot of American business owners.
It's interesting. My cousin was working in construction for a little bit. He said a lot of the Mexicans that he worked with, some of them were undocumented, and he said they were like just working the same.
Bro, they were doing that for like truck driver jobs.
He said they were just sending money back to Mexico. See, the truck driving is different though.
That's worse.
It is way worse.
Because you need a license.
Yeah, you need a license. I don't want them manning vehicles.
So, hey man, I feel like I do believe that if the job cannot be filled by the American, let undocumented I'm
not gonna say that.
it,
I won't say
cool
that because we just need to find a way to Get these people some work visas or some sort of documentation so they're non-documented. Because like that, that to me, expediting the immigration process, since they are an essential worker to our society, I'd rather find a way to get them citizenship so they're not undocumented and illegal.
I can agree with that.
Because I don't really agree with calling them undocumented when we do understand that they are essential workers to our society.
Well, even Trump and them are understanding that. So, let us know what y'all think in the comments, though, guys.